welcome back to another chess video. Guys, today I'll be beginning a new series, as you could read from the title, for openings. So I'm going to do two separate series. So one series will be based on openings for white, and one series will be based on openings for black. So today we will be starting with the openings for white, and I'm going to start with the most simple opening and work our way up to where we have like very long openings. Maybe I might do like different variations of each kind of opening. For example, for the Italian game, I can do the Max Lange attack. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So let's get started. So the opening that I will be introducing in today's video is called the fried liver attack. The fried liver attack is kind of one of the most common openings for white, especially at the beginner level. So it starts out with e4, e5. I'm going to be starting with e4 and e5, like these kinds of openings for a while, and then after I'm done with the e4 ones, I will go for the d4 openings. Don't worry. So for after e4, e5, you continue with knight f3, knight c6, and bishop c4. The reason we bring out this bishop early is because we want to target the weakest pawn in black's position, which is the f7 pawn. The f7 and f2 pawn are the weakest pawns at the beginning of the game. That is because it is only defended by the king, and the king is the most important piece in the game. So if you target that square, like, you can almost guarantee victory. So it starts off with bishop c4. We're going to target this f7 pawn, and because it's only defended by this king, and we're going to be putting pressure on it later. So after this, we go with knight f6, just a regular move, trying to attack our pawn. But after this, we're going to go knight g5. Now, to some people, this might be like, oh, he's defending his pawn. There's nothing wrong with that. And some people have actually seen this play h6 after this move, and that ends up being their worst move, as knight g5 is not only to protect the pawn, but it is also going to putting one more attacker on this f7 square. Now, some players, there's an anti-fried liver attack here, but I will get onto that later in the video. So after this, some people play h6, and obviously after this, knight takes f7 is the move here. So after knight takes f7, it's basically what happens is there's a fork here, and you get forked with your queen and your rook, which are one of like the two most valuable pieces on the board. So when you move your queen out of the way, which most people do, then you do knight takes h8 and you're winning material. To avoid this, there's a lot of ways to avoid this. One way is the Traxler counterattack. Now, I'm not going to get much into that in this video. I'm just going to show you guys a brief summary. So after this, this is the Traxler counterattack. So you don't want to take this in this situation. It's basically losing, because after this, Then you're gonna go with the shocking move, bishop takes f2 check. Now you're gonna be like, what? That doesn't make sense at all, because you're just getting a free piece, and plus you're getting 4. Well, no, that's not the case, because after knight takes e4, another check, then the king will have to move again. If the king goes to g1, that's even worse for him, because he just cut off his rook completely. Now you're gonna get this into the game and this into the game. Now you're gonna go here, obviously, here, trying to threaten checkmate on this square. And yeah, basically this is a very dangerous position for white, because you've just opened up your king a lot, and after knight takes e4, there's actually a mate here. If you play king to e3, then you're going to get mated in a couple of moves. There's actually mate in a couple of moves here. First you play d4, trying to protect this and cut this off, and after he moves back here, then you can start launching your attack, and start to bring these pieces in, set up a mating net, and usually there's some kind of mate here after you get rid of this knight. Usually how you want to get rid of this knight is like by castling, but we're kind of off topic, so we'll get into that in another video. So after this, what will happen is you're targeting this, and you obviously don't want to play h6. So this is kind of like a very common attack for white. For example, if someone tries to, the main line here is d5. After d5, there is knight takes f7 with this fork. You cannot take this because your queen's under attack. If the king decides to take here, you're gonna take like this, attacking this knight. Now you could see that there's also a discovered check here if we move this pawn one step further. Well, yes, you're actually correct, but this is, instead of moving the knight away, there's actually a second option of taking this pawn, which seems the most common to some people. But what actually happens after he takes this pawn, your opponent takes this pawn, is you play queen f3. And queen f3 just sends off a fork, and if your king moves back to his original position, then you're gonna, congratulations, they've just lost a piece and you're up material now. You're up one pawn. So what they would do instead is play this. Now after king e6, you don't want to check, because the king can easily get into shelter here, and is actually completely safe somehow, because of all these pieces around the king that can easily just come and protect it. In this position, you want to play knight c3, and knight c3 puts another pressure, more pressure on this knight. Now, you can't really defend it anymore in this position, other than like knight e7, but it's like very risky. It's like if you play knight e7, you're cutting off your bishop, and then, but there's also the knight b4, but then you play here, and actually there's a check here, but it kind of doesn't matter, because if he takes this, you're winning one pawn, you're winning one thing, and I think there's some mate here. Actually, I think that there's some, yeah, this is just a really dangerous position, because if you kind of like look at everything, it's like almost mate here. It's like the king can't move anywhere, and it's really, really dangerous. But actually a3 was not the correct move. Actually, if I open this up here, I don't think a3 was the correct move. You actually play queen e4. Queen? No, not queen e4. Yeah, sorry, you play bishop b3 trying to protect here. And then what you want to do is you need to castle. For example, let's do some random moves here. You need a castle, and they can't really develop this bishop like any further. They can't really go to d6 because then the piece is hanging. But if they go to like e7 or something, then you play rook e1, and if they play another random move like b5, then you could just play d4, and it's like pretty much like you could just open up the king and get to a point where you could checkmate it. Another way here is instead of, they might actually just play they might just give up the knight, but there's actually a move that they shouldn't do here. It's king g8, and after this it's just mate, because takes, the king is under attack, and the only reason it's not mate right now is because first the queen can take, then our queen can take, and then the bishop can block to where we can take, and the king is just trapped here in with his own pieces, so he just gets mated in this one diagonal. So that's just a fun thing that you need to keep in mind, that if they move to g8, it's just automatic checkmate. It's just, if you know what you're doing, it's checkmate. So after this, there's I can actually explain a little bit of the Traxler counterattack, but I can't explain really all of it because that's really in the openings for black. So you need the way, actually I could teach you how to counter this Traxler counterattack. So if they are using the Traxler counterattack, like what you want to play here is you want to give a check, because you can't really do this because it's like you're risking like losing, because if you go here, if you don't even take this at all, and if you go here, it's still dangerous. I mean, they can, after this, they're gonna move their queen out of the way, and yeah, it's just a really dangerous position, because like if white gets too greedy, then like there's all this, and then like coming in with this, and then there's sometimes people fall into checkmate. One way is after this, they play like king e2, and once someone plays d5, it's not exactly mate, but they're winning a lot of material. After this, they get like too focused on trying to capture this that they completely forget about bishop g4, and then you get skewered, and they win your queen. So it's just really dangerous. To counter the Traxler counterattack, if you want to, like you don't need to actually fork them. You could go into some like mainline stuff where you actually can take this, and like you could go with Stockfish actually. This is still winning for white, but like it's a very tricky position. Like if you play here, takes, and if he plays king g1, as I told you, they play queen h4. There's checkmate here. Then they're gonna play g3. Then I think there's d6 or something you get in here. But knight takes g3. Knight takes h8. But the reason you can't take like this is because of this, and then like it's, you can't, so if black wants to, like he can, I think they can do this and then come here with this. Like if you take this, there's some thing here, but I'm not sure. You have to go, maybe you can analyze with Stockfish how to get out of that position, but personally what I would recommend is after the Traxler counterattack, you can just take with bishop takes f7. You're still winning a pawn, which is very good for your endgames. In the endgames, your main thing is promotion, so the more pawns you have, the better. So after this, you will also take their right away to castle. For example, if they play king f8, right, you could just like castle. And oh, actually, sorry, you can't castle here because of h6, but you can move this back to bishop b3, and once they start developing, like here, you could start developing yourself, but just you could castle just in case, and like it's not really dangerous for you anymore, and you're up a pawn, which is great for your endgame. So that's basically one way you can play against the Traxler counterattack. But there's also some videos online if you guys want to go look at those for countering this Traxler counterattack. So it's not really countering, but you would still have an advantage at the end, definitely. And yeah, this is just one thing to keep in mind. This usually is played at the 800, 900 level, or like the beginner to like somewhat, like when you're getting to intermediate level, you kind of want to quit playing this. In the next video for white, I'm going to show you guys how to play the Italian game. You don't want to really play this, because sometimes people have a lot of ways to counter this, and yeah, because you could get into really bad positions. Because you're moving, the reason like this is not good for the intermediate level is because you're moving a developed piece twice, and it's not really good for you know, when you want to develop in the beginner level, because you're moving this piece twice and you're giving black another chance to develop. Like for example, like this, it doesn't matter that it's a counter attack, you're still developing. Like even if white didn't know what they were doing with this attack, like then like you're getting extra development. So when you get into the intermediate, I don't think this is I don't recommend this, but you could still keep trying it out. And yeah, also one thing that I wanted to talk about is the anti-fried liver attack. So instead of, once you play bishop c4, a lot of people I've seen, they want to prevent this so bad that they just play h6. And that's not really good, because I've already have two pieces developed. Like it doesn't matter if I'm going for the if I'm going for the fried liver attack or not. You just wasted a move, and you could now, you just have so much more time to just play knight c3. Now if they play knight f6, they're way too late, because I'm already in here in the center with development. Like they're too late on development. Bishop e3, castles. Look how much like progress I've made so far, and now I could go on an early attack while you're here just developing. You're still developing, but I'm already starting to attack you. So just keep that in mind as well. And yeah, that's basically all that I wanted to say for this opening. You should go try it out and see if it works on some people. But remember, you have to like be careful of what you do in this opening, because you don't want to risk losing material. For example, in the one I showed you here, where this, like the Traxler counterattack, takes, and you guys have to be careful of what you're doing here, because you can't just go in castle, or you can't just play knight c3, because what happens is, because this is under pressure, and it's under pressure by a piece, but it's getting defended by another piece, but that piece can be attacked by a pawn. So you gotta be careful if a piece is guarding, like for example in this position, your knight is guarding your bishop. You can't just let your knight sit around like that, or your bishop sit around like that, because if your knight gets attacked like this, and you just move back, you left this piece hanging, and black just won material for no reason. Like, you just gave black free material. So yeah, you guys have to be careful of what you're just like doing over here, and yeah, you should be all good. And yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.